But anyway, we got an email that answers some things that I've been suspectifying about this very show that we're about to talk about. From Justin. No other information given. Apparently, he doesn't want the hounds of hell on him. Hello, Jim and Brian. Part of AEW's tickets distribution in each city is a large donation of tickets to the Veterans Ticket Foundation. The last 3 times, including this coming Wednesday, AEW has come through Minneapolis, St. Paul. They have distributed a large chunk of tickets. The first time was 756 tickets. The second was 1,500, both in a 20,000 seat venue. This time they will be at the Roy Wilkins Auditorium, a 5,000 seat venue, and we'll talk about this building. I was going to ask. And last I saw, 500 plus tickets were given to VETTIX, VETTIX.org. I assume .org, that means they're a nonprofit, right? Like AEW, so we can plug them without fearing they'll sell you Bitcoin. But anyway, Justice said, I understand giving away tickets to veterans, including myself, is a positive thing. But when such large chunks are donated, it feels like they are padding their numbers. Yeah, you think, Brian, would they do something like that? Remember, it's the phrase is always, how many people they have and use? Well, it's reported that it was so and so many tickets distributed.
Right.
And we've said a number of times, well, distributed doesn't exactly mean that people bought them or used them, but they were distributed. And now the veterans are fine, worthy organization, but we need more information on the paid aspect of AEW's ticket business, don't we?
Yeah, I think both things could be true, though. I think we definitely need more. Well, we need more in terms of we want the information. It's a private company. They don't have to give us a fucking thing. But we would love more information about the exact amount of paid ticket sales. However, I don't think there's anything wrong with giving, if you're not selling those tickets, yeah, give them to every group you can in town. Give them as many as you got. Fill it up with them.
Give him all she's got, Captain.
No, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I actually have no problem with Tony Khan or AEW doing that.
And again, I'm not saying that there is either, especially if they ain't selling them and they have to fill the building. But that's the problem, is that people have been overlooking the fact that these guys in this combination ain't interesting, even their most dedicated folks, to actually go out and buy the tickets to the live event in major cities, more than 2,000 fucking people in a lot of cases. Or if that, we don't know. And that goes back to what I said. Their business strategy was, let's put on the greatest matches ever seen every fucking week. And I said, that sounds great when they've only been to the town once, or it's a new thing, or it's we're mad at the WWF, or whatever the case may be, as to why you want to support the other company. And we're rah, and Tony's one of us. 5 years in, they've been everywhere, and it's kind of the same thing, only with a diminishing number of stars. They have the same kind of matches with the same kind of rules. You can't tell a goddamn difference. But there's not as many stars as there were the first half a dozen times they went to town now. So now is where they're suffering the effects of, they can't just love us because we're new when we ain't new anymore. Do you see what I'm saying, Brian? Am I imparting this halfway reasonably?
I think, it's funny. I was just reading the new Keith Elliott Greenberg book about WrestleMania 3. I think it's Bigger, Badder, Better. But it's the Keith Elliott Greenberg book about WrestleMania 3, and he quotes Dave Meltzer from around that time, and it's in a chapter about the war between Jim Crockett Promotions and WWF. Everything from, Toronto, switching sides, everything that was going on. And it talked about, Dave Meltzer said, and this is from like 85, 84, I went to the show and Ric Flair had the most amazing match and everyone loved it. And I also went when Hogan was in town, and it was rather short. People liked it, but he didn't go 25 minutes and give you just the greatest thing you've ever seen. And when both came back, the WWF's crowds had not gone down, but the NWA's did. And he said, that's when I realized it's not about match quality, it's about stars.
Oh my God.
And I think that's the thing. You want good matches. Although, in a lot of ways, if you're building a card from preliminary to the top, you don't want everyone to outshine everyone, but you want good matches, but you need stars. You need people that feel like stars. People who are not fans tune in to see stars. You hear about them. And that's the big thing AEW is missing right now.
Well, and the people in that particular area had been seeing the WWF and then the WWF. They'd been seeing that talent, that wrestling for years and years and years, and on their television. And to them, that they were the stars and they ran those towns and they did big business. When Crockett got on TV, yeah, he had, and it was the Pro Wrestling USA show at first, I think, because it was a mixture of the talent. But the point is, some of those people had been there in the WWF in the past, but a lot of people were new. And, if you're on TV for 3 months and then here we're live, and they drew big the first time because it was not only people locally, the really rabid hardcore fan base, but also the cable watchers that drove in. But then when it became a choice of monthly who to spend the money on and who to make the trip for, usually people went with the incumbent. And this is kind of a longer lasting version of that, in that any other company would have pulled out of running live events across country a long time ago with the cost of AEW's versus the gate to begin with. Tony doesn't have to worry about that. But it's, I watched this TV March 26th, and I'm like, are they even trying anymore? Or do they think? What do they think? What do they think? Brian, what are they thinking?
Who's they, Tony?
Anybody
He's
on
the
this
one putting the show
program.
Together. He's the one putting the show together.
Many of the other people involved are enacting this show, though.
Yeah, but in terms of certain matchups where you're like, why are these two wrestling here on their main show for this long? I have that thought like every single week, multiple times.